Young punks, get off my lawn.
Hello, and welcome to the first video of the Aging Nerd, where I will review all sorts of nerdy things, starting with iOS games. Why iOS, I hear you ask? You're not a real gamer if you play on mobile. Well, Sonny, let me tell you something. I'm an OG gamer. I played Atari and NES games and not looking for the, quote, retro experience. And the funny thing is, mobile platforms actually host a lot of the spiritual successors to the games that I loved growing up. And I do still keep up with AAA games on PC rigs I build myself, but there are a million different channels that focus on that, whereas I can't ever find detailed reviews for the games I want to enjoy when I just can't sleep and want to pull out my iPad in bed and enjoy the middle of the night gaming session. And as much as I want to avoid duplicating something that already exists in abundance, I want to help people like myself looking for some intel before wasting time and money on a bad game, or wasting time waiting for confirmation before buying a game that they end up loving. So with that, let's jump into my first review of an iOS game. Warbits. Warbits is a turn-based strategy game that takes place on a square grid where you control cities to gain funds and build ground and air units with various strengths and weaknesses, and gain victory by either defeating all your opponent's forces or capturing their HQ. If this sounds familiar to some of you older kids, that's probably because you played Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance, the first of the Advance Wars series released in North America. Warbits definitely borrows many mechanics from the original Advance Wars, but there are a few important differences that definitely provide a change in tactics, if not overall strategy. But first, let's start out with some similarities. If you look on the screen, you'll see a list of the original Advance Wars ground and air units. All of these have their exact counterparts in Warbits. There was a bit of tweaking. The heavy infantry in Warbits have substantially more firepower than the mechanized infantry of Advance Wars, for example. In fact, if you loved Advance Wars' CO Sammy would be OP in Warbits, as infantry units are already much more powerful than they were in Advance Wars, but that's not the only thing. All units in any carrier vehicles, whether APC or air carrier, can move or act on the same turn where they are dropped off so long as they didn't move that turn to get into the carrier. Add on to that two abilities in Warbits that boost capture rates, including one which allows you to capture any city that's not an HQ in a single turn, and the additional damage that they do. Let's just say that Sammy would be an unstoppable force in Warbits. Speaking of COs, that is another huge difference between Warbits and Advance Wars. Though there are different characters and colors, in fact the same colors in the original Advance Wars game, orange, blue, green, and yellow, there is no difference that the COs provide to their unit stats, and everyone has access to all powers. This is done through a secondary in-game currency that you accumulate by defeating enemies. The stronger the unit you defeated, the more charge you get to use towards another power. On one hand, this definitely makes it where when you are playing multiplayer, you don't have to worry about a bad matchup. But it does also hurt the replayability of the single-player maps. It also makes the gameplay a bit more stale, as the best move for one person is the best move for everybody. Whereas some of the fun in Advance Wars was in learning how to compensate for your CO's weakness and maximizing their strength. With all of that said, you might think that I'm about to slam this game for being a worthless knockoff, but you would be wrong. Warbits may not be as strong as Advance Wars, but its gameplay is still better than most turn-based strategy games with entertaining characters and a meta-based storyline, better graphics thanks to the advances in technology, and very good audio. Best of all, the price is amazing. As far as gameplay, you're getting 90% of Advance Wars, but for about 10% of the cost. When Advance Wars came out, it was $40, and now, in today's currency, once you adjust for inflation, that's around $50. Warbits is only $5 in the App Store. Also, unlike many other turn-based strategy games on iOS, like Lost Frontier, which I did also enjoy and will be doing a review of, this game's AI is much more sound. Lost Frontier had one massive weakness in its AI, which was that at certain intervals it would wait for one of your units to cross a threshold before kicking itself into the next phase, essentially allowing you to just bide your time and build up an unstoppable army before you cross that invisible line. Once you did, you could walk through his attacks just like every Dragon Ball Z antagonist does against Krillin. If you tried this in Warbits though, the AI will thank you for handing them the game. Finally, the fact that you can play multiplayer with people anywhere in the world, random or with someone you know, just with an internet connection and the use of the same hashtag and a battle search, and you've got an amazing classic turn-based strategy experience for a measly $5. The only thing I can really find myself missing every time I play this game are the battle animations once you engage in combat, combined with the slight variance in damage. In Advance Wars, you are shown a percentage of damage you would do. 50% would leave you 5 out of 10 health on a unit if attacked at full health, but something close to the middle between the two perfectly divisible numbers, say 54, 55, or 56% of a healthy unit, It may do 5 damage or it may do 6, and the anticipation was compounded by having to wait out the animation to see exactly how much you did and wondering if you would have to change your strategy for that turn on the fly. In Warbits, it always follows exactly on the mathematical rounding rules. Any percentage 4% or lower is rounded down, 5% and higher is rounded up. Warbits also doesn't have a way to store fractional numbers in a unit's health bar. So if you attack a unit when it says it will do 35% of damage, you'll deal 4 damage. And if you attack yet again with another 35%, you'll do 4 more, so they only have 2 health remaining. You did 8 damage, even though 35 and 35% combined is 70%, and they should have 3 health left. But really, that's just nitpicking. Overall, I'd rate Warbits an 8 out of 10 just for the quality of the game alone, and at the price, anyone who has ever enjoyed or wants to try a turn-based strategy game needs to buy this app. However, not everyone values the same things in the game, so I'll leave you with my final list of pros and cons so you can make the best decision for yourself. But of course, I am your elder, so you should listen to me, and if you don't, not only are you a rebellious young fool, but you're wrong. But before you run off to enjoy some good old-fashioned turn-based strategy gameplay, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this review and leave any game you want reviewed in the comments below, and subscribe so that you get notified when it's up. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got to catch the senior discount in Captain D's before 6 PM and then hit the hay. Aging Nerd, over and out.